What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Table Spot LFG Reactions. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the man with the best beer in the business. He is the host of The Boom every Wednesday night, and my co-host every Monday night on the Table Spot, Mr. Cam G. Cam, how are you doing?
Man, it has been one heck of a whirlwind of a day, but I'm here to talk about some LFG episodes 7 and 8. Very exciting show. Like I said, it's one of the best, more refreshing shows. Like I said, it's just a mix up of what you get on Monday and on Friday and on Tuesday. So I love it, and it is a very interesting show. So I'm all here for it.
That is right. We are here to talk about episode 7 and 8 this time with LFG. We are about at the halfway mark of the show. Before we get into talking about episode 7 and 8, I want to remind everybody to make sure you head over to the Table Spot's YouTube channel, the Table Spot RCR. Well, that's what you're watching this on, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We definitely appreciate you guys doing that and letting your friends, your family, your pets, whoever, to hit that subscribe button for us. It would definitely be deeply appreciated. Make sure to catch the Table Spot every Monday night over on Rivet City Radio's Twitch and Off the Top Media's YouTube channel, as well as The Boom. Same place, Wednesday night. So, Cam, let's get into it. LFG episode 7. As I bring up our banner here, Legends and Future Greats. Legends and Future Greats is a WWE show on A&E. It is aired every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And episode 7, the title was Toughness and Grit. Now, Cam, when this episode came up, I was excited because we got this in the preview that Gunther was going to be on the show. We just didn't know what episode he was going to be on. Well, we get to episode 7, and here he is, the special guest. At the time, he was the World's Heavyweight Champion. He is now not the World's Heavyweight Champion, but at that time, he was the World's Heavyweight Champion. And he shows up, and he had a challenge for all the Future Greats. He wanted all the Future Greats to show their grit. Pretty much show how pissed off you can get. That's what he wanted. He wanted the Future Greats to show how tough they can be. Pissed off, whatever you want to say. But, Cam, how excited were you to find out that Gunther was going to be on the show?
Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Gunther. Again, everything about the guy, I mean, he screams old school. He's just a guy that's just like plucked in and just placed in probably the wrong era. But no, he's the epitome of toughness and grit, right? I mean, the guy is just, I mean, every time he's in the ring, he legitimately looks like he's just beating the ever living crap out of every one of his opponents. So yeah, like I said, he's the perfect guy to be, to speak on toughness and grit to the Future Great. So I was definitely excited. I was, curious and then looking forward to what episode he was going to be on.
Well, when he shows up, he walks down. All the Future Greats are standing there in a line, and he walks down and talks to everybody, asks them why they're there. And the one person that stood out to me that he spoke to was Xena. That's right, Xena, because she said she's there to make a story, and she's there, and she's all happy and giddy. And Gunther was like, lose the Barbie act, basically. If you're not here to, win championships and be great, there's the door. Like, we don't need this happy-go-lucky Barbie character from you. Show your grit. Now, you're a big fan of Xena. What was your reaction on that?
I can agree with everything he said. I mean, he basically just gave her tough love, nobody wants to see you try to be the best or try to be great. Like no one cares about that. So drop all that and show everybody why you belong here and really find some dig deep, dig your heels into this. This is getting into, as you said before, we're getting into the nitty gritty of this competition, and it's really not a time or a place to be, playing nice and kissing babies and shaking hands and whatnot have you. This is the time to really get serious about this competition and get serious about winning and what your path looks like to getting to winning this competition. So I agree with everything he said, and I think finally you could see the light bulb go off with Xena, because I feel like she finally understood just the severity or just how serious this competition really is, just based off what Gunther said, giving her that tough love.
So I did take some notes on what Gunther said to some of these Future Greats. The first thing he said was, your first passion, it obviously didn't work out, so now you're here. And like I said, he told Xena to cut the mannerisms, cut out all the basic stuff, the things that you think we want to hear. Cut them out. Then he went down to Tyra, and he found out that she is, as it's very well known, she's an Olympic gold medalist. And he said to Tyra, yeah, as she keeps mentioning, he says to Tyra, it's a great feat winning gold medals, but it's not paying the bills, is it? What are your thoughts on that line?
I mean, again, just more, brutal honesty, which I can appreciate. I would have loved to see after he had said that, that's when it should have been the light bulb for Tyra to be like, okay, the gold medal shtick shouldn't be a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's time to find something else and again, dig deep to find what will actually work for me character wise, in ring wise, away from the gold medal thing. We know this already. You keep mentioning it. So even if we weren't aware, which I don't even know how that's even possible, but if we weren't aware, if we just weren't paying attention, we weren't taking notes and having this show talking about this particular program, and we didn't know you won the gold medal, we would pretty much know it because you keep saying it. So yeah, that would have been the time to drop that.
It's like we knew it since episode 1 that you were an Olympic gold medalist. We knew it since episode 2 you were an Olympic gold medalist. 3, 4, 5, 6, now 7. We know you're an Olympic gold medalist. Drop it. And if it's going to be part of your gimmick, then do yourself a favor. Go watch some Kurt Angle videos and learn. Yeah. Learn. Because Kurt, we know he was great. And he made it work. And that was something that was mentioned during this episode. Not so much of telling her to go watch Kurt Angle videos, but they all mentioned it. Like, Kurt was great. We knew he was an Olympic gold medalist. But he learned the fact that he had to lose at times. He learned how to be comedic. He learned how to be serious. He learned how to be a cyborg in the ring. He learned how to be tough. He learned how to be vulnerable. And that's what Tyra needs to do. She needs to learn all these things. Yeah. Not just right off the back of her gold medals, because it's not going to get her anywhere. There was another line that was said by one of the coaches that we're going to get to in a second towards Tyra. And we're going to talk about that. But another person that Gunther said something to was Jasper. Now, Jasper, as we know, he had some choice words for CM Punk on the episode that CM Punk was on. Okay. And Gunther went to Jasper and said, you got to pretty much learn how to walk before you can run. You need to learn how to talk before you can go running your mouth to somebody in the stature of CM Punk. I heard what you said to CM Punk. And Jasper tried to say something to Gunther, and Gunther said to him, shut your mouth and listen. Just shut your mouth and listen. And Jasper seemed to be a little, in his own words, he said that he felt attacked. Do you feel like Jasper was being attacked?
I don't know if I so much use the word attacked, but he was definitely pointed out. That definitely, it definitely struck a chord, I think, with Gunther. Because like I said, as Taker had said, he loves this business. And he not only is his style very old school, but I think his mindset is also old school as well. Like he's all about protecting the business. He's all about respecting the current roster as well. And I think he took that as a sign of disrespect. So now he's putting this guy under, the proverbial pressure cooker to see, okay, let's see you back that up. I don't want you to just be all talk. Let's see if you can back that up. So yeah, he was definitely picked out. I wouldn't say attacked necessarily, but he was definitely highlighted by Gunther to say, okay, I'm going to watch this guy. I'm going to keep a close eye on this guy because he's talking a big game. Now I want to see him actually show up.
Yeah. The points going into this episode, Booker T and The Undertaker, Team Booker T and Team Undertaker both had 4 points. Team Mickey James had 2 points, and Bully Ray had 0. So Bully Ray going into episode 7 still at 0 points. We do find out that Danny Sikelski, she didn't get injured, but she ended up in medical with a sore back. She didn't know fully what was going on, so she was out for this episode. We did not have her. And that became a little bit, not so much of an issue for this episode in a whole, but it was a little bit for Mickey James because it made it hard. She had her out, plus she had another competitor out with illness. So it was kind of a tough situation for Mickey James. Bully Ray then went and called out Tyra for being too smiley all the time. And Tyra kind of took that to heart. Okay. Now, a couple weeks ago on one of the episodes, I believe it was Chris Island who said that, he didn't have anything when it came to cutting promos. Like, he just didn't feel it. He wasn't going to go up there and trauma dump. Pretty much dump all the trauma and everything like that. Now, Tyra, she took this personally. She went on video and she said that she all day was letting this bother her on what Bully Ray said to her about being too smiley. And me and you've talked about it. Me and you both said that Tyra's a little too smiley, even during the Undertaker, during the episode with the factions. She was too smiley in that vignette. Like, don't smile. Like that took away from that vignette. She went all day with letting this bother her. And then she goes on camera and says, you know why I'm so smiley? I'm smiling for the people that aren't here anymore, the family members, the friends that I've lost that aren't here. She smiles for them. And that's completely understandable. You want to smile for somebody that's not here, that's fine. Not going to take that away. Cam, I'm sure you wouldn't take that away from anybody. I wouldn't take that away from anybody. But you are in a business to where you have to portray a character. And you are this gold medalist, as you always say. You're supposed to be a badass. Badasses don't smile all the time. Now, in my eyes, Cam, and I'm going to get your thought on this, but first, actually, I want to get your thought on this first. What are your thoughts on what Bully Ray said and Tyra's reaction? I want to get your thoughts first.
Well, as I've told you before, outside of this program, I'm not particularly the biggest fan of Bully Ray necessarily. I think a lot of the time, even so, I think he kind of gets off on, I don't know, just kind of, how can I put this? Being like, I don't know, the bigger, badder person in the room. Like that's what he wants to be. Like he wants to control the room. Like whatever room he walks into, if that makes any sense. So I'm not really quite sure what he was trying to accomplish with saying, Tyra's too smiley. And yeah, she might be, but I don't really see it in this regard as a particular issue if she doesn't know how to tap into something else. Again, we talk about this with Willow Nightingale, and it has to be that light switch. She can be the bubbly, smiley Willow Nightingale, but when they put her in a position in a storyline where that doesn't make sense, she then has to tap into another level, another speed, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to refer to it as. That's the same thing that Tyra needs to be able to do. And I also think she needs to also be able to control her emotions at the same time, because if she's always getting too caught up in her emotions, I think, and I've even seen this, it also affects the work that she's doing, especially in the ring, because there's a lot of stuff that I've seen her try and do that doesn't always come off or translate the way I think she wanted it to. And I don't even think her opponents know how to react to some of these like single leg takedowns and stuff like that she does, because I think she just gets too caught up in the moment. So overall, I sort of understand what he's saying, and it is an issue if, again, she doesn't know how to tap into another level, which I think she does. It's kind of all over the place right now. It's not like a set in stone. Okay, now I'm serious. Now I'm bubbly. It's just kind of blending together right now. So it is sort of an issue. I can kind of see both sides, I suppose.
I think she completely missed Bully Ray's point on what he was saying. What I mean by that is he said to her that, you're way too smiley. You got to stop smiling all the time. Okay. You're this badass who went into the Olympics and you did what you did. You won gold medals, all this stuff. You got to tap in. Basically, I think what he was trying to tell her is you need to tap into the aggression. That is what Gunther is looking for here. He wants aggression. You need to tap into it. and with the smiling all the time and being happy, how are you going to tap into the anger if you're always smiling and happy? That's where I think she missed his point. And I think he was trying to piss her off, because the promo that she cut when she said the reason why she smiles all the time, after she cut that promo, I was like, that is what he's looking for. That right there. And I think what she needs to do is watch that video, and she will definitely understand what he's looking for. So I'm not saying she was trauma dumping. I'm just saying that Chris, you know, he went out and said that he was not there to trauma dump or anything like that. I'm not saying that Tyra was doing that in her what she was saying on her recording, but I'm not even trying to say that it was borderline. It was just her bringing out her emotion on why she smiles all the time. And I think she missed the point on what Bully was trying to tell her. And if she goes back and watches that video, I think she'll get the point of what Bully was trying to tell her. That's what she needs to tap into. So, but again, we did find out that Danny Sikelski, again in medical, she's out. And another situation Bully Ray was in was he was working in the actually no, that's for episode 8. Never mind. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Sorry. We do end up getting matches being made. Okay. So the first matchup that gets made is Shiloh Hill taking on Troy Yearwood. Cam, do you have any comments on this match?
Not really. Again, Shiloh Hill, I think had a great showing for the most part. Troy Yearwood, again, he's still a mystery to me. Like I said, that's still somebody that, even him himself, he has said he doesn't really know who he is. So that's again, I think I've said this a couple times before already, that he definitely needs to tap into a particular character or really find himself, so we can really get a better understanding of who he really is in the ring and as a character.
Shiloh did end up picking up the win in this match. I have the note that it wasn't a bad match, but there was not a lot of anger. You had a lot of Troy Yearwood pumping up, and it wasn't so much aggression. It was more so like that motivation, like, yeah, like he was getting more pumped up than anger. And Shiloh was still kind of that, mysterious aura of a character. Not a lot of anger. They didn't give really what Gunther was looking for. Then we get into Xena and Tyra. And do you have any thoughts on this match, Xena and Tyra?
I believe this is the episode where Xena came out and she had a completely different attire on.
Yes.
So yeah, she definitely, I love that. She definitely transformed. And again, just like what I was just saying about oh, what is her name? I lost it. About Tyra. Yes.
Oh, Tyra.
Yeah. Well, yeah, technically both, yes. But Tyra, in just flipping that light switch. So she can play this bubbly, nice Barbie girl or whatever, and then she comes out looking like a freaking Mortal Kombat character in this episode. So I liked it. Like I said, Xena to me is a star, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, because I like Xena, but she's a star. Like I said, I haven't seen a bad match from her so far in this competition. Even from episode 1 to now. I think she definitely shined in this. Again, with like I said, with Tyra, again, she just has to be able to put all the pieces together, with, again, her promo ability. It's there. She just has to, again, figure out what it is she's really trying to do. Again, as we, keep talking about the gold medal thing, is just kind of there. It's kind of being overdone at this point. So yeah, she just needs to put all the pieces together. She definitely has something there. It's just kind of scattered right now. But Xena to me is a star. She definitely stood out in this match.
I agree. Xena is definitely a star. She picked up the win in this match. I wrote down that this was an okay match. I felt like it was a little bit of a flat win with the German suplex. I think, and when we get in episode 8 is all about finishing moves. So obviously, these future greats in episode 7 do not have a finisher. So again, the German suplex I still feel like was a little bit of a flat ending. But yeah, Mickey James did mention Xena's gear, and she said that it looked like lingerie. I honestly, Cam, I didn't see it. And I guess what Mickey was really trying to point out was, Xena's ass was showing a little too much. And Mickey even made the comment of like, this is what we were trying to fight for in the Divas era, was we were trying to break away from us being exposed to be and showing our athleticism, opposed to, just being, in Mickey's words, a piece of meat. So it's she was just trying to tell Xena, like, really think about your gear next time you come out. But it seemed to be the talk of the night because it made social media conversation. It was all over X. It was all over, Yahoo and everything. So it made conversation for a lot of people. But honestly, I just, I don't know. It looked like ring gear that maybe it was a little too small or something. I don't know. And, I think Xena will get it right next time. I don't see it being a problem moving forward. But the Undertaker did say to Tyra that he just was not impressed with her in this match, which is a huge, huge deal, because when your coach tells you he's not impressed, that's a problem.
Yeah.
When the other coaches are sitting there saying, I wasn't impressed, that's different. When your coach is telling you, I wasn't impressed with you tonight, what are you doing? Then that's a problem. We then got Jasper against Cutler. And one little side note that I got from this, when Cutler got introduced, and I didn't know this, but Cutler is from my hometown.
Oh, wow.
He is legitimately from my hometown. When he got announced, they said Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I was like, what? Really? Hold on. What? This is kind of cool. But yeah, I popped a little bit on that one. But I'll start off with the thoughts on this match. This match went to the outside, and everybody was yelling for them to get back in the ring. Gunther even said, you got to learn how to pretty much walk in the ring before you can run on the outside, crawl on the outside, do stuff on the outside. I said that this match wasn't too bad. The big problem was there was a lot of backdrops and a lot of headlocks. So they pretty much got to the start, got to the middle, only to walk around the block and get to the beginning again to end this match. Cutler did end up picking up the win. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Not other than the fact that, it was a hard-hitting match. You got two gigantic men, big meaty men slapping meat, as Big E coined once. It was very, very, very physical. You look at Troy's, was it Troy's? No, it was Cutler James' back. Cutler James had literally freaking handprints on his back. And even Gunther had said, like, that's great, because that's showing like the war wounds of a physical battle. But it's I think Mickey James had mentioned this. One of them two mentioned this. But it's uneven when one of them has a shirt on, such as Jasper, and the other one is shirtless. Yeah, so it's just like that's not when it's you're giving and receiving chops. The shirtless one obviously is going to crack, and it's going to echo throughout the audience in the arena. And then if you give one back, it's not gonna number one, it's not gonna feel the same, obviously, and number two, it's not gonna have that same effect. It's not gonna have that same sound. So that, I think, that was the biggest thing, just within the physicality aspect of the particular match. But overall, like I said, it was definitely a war. I don't really have anything like any other rule like quarrels with it, I guess, outside of that, other than the fact that just with the chopping thing, namely. But other than that, very physical match. I thought they definitely brought the toughness that I think Gunther was looking for.
When one is wearing a shirt, it doesn't sound, look, or feel the same.
Yeah.
And Gunther even told Jasper, like, lose the shirt completely. You don't need it. Lose it. Get rid of it. Even if he's wearing a singlet, that's better than wearing that jacket that he wears. The last match was Bailey against Leah, and I'll say this was a great showing by both ladies. Probably the best match out of the four. Bailey ends up picking up the win with her finishing move called the Cranium Crusher. I don't know about you, Cam, but Bailey is very much impressing me very fast in these last two episodes. And I think she's starting to, next to Xena, become a favorite. Would you say?
Yeah, I would definitely put her up there. I mean, she's definitely impressive for sure. She's very innovative, and just like so, just impressive when you just look at her, the size and height and the strength that she possesses. So yeah, no, she definitely stood out in this match. Lee, for me, on the other hand, she again, I think episode one, she looked like a star, and then I'm not quite sure what happened. I don't know if she just got in her head or just crawled back into her shell or whatever, but it just kind of faded away, honestly. And she has, again, another one that has the tools to really succeed, but like I said, they're just not really putting it together. They don't really know how to right now.
Well, Gunther does come to a decision, and he does say that Xena picks up the win as far as a point. So Team Bully finally on the board, finally gets a point.
Yes.
And he also picked it came down between Jasper and Shiloh. And Gunther, he said, you know, he would give the point to Jasper, but Jasper needs to learn how to take his emotions and throw them away. Don't take things so personal. This is business. So with that being said, I'm giving it, even though Shiloh said that he felt like he didn't give the greatest showing, gave Shiloh the point. And Shiloh was even a little confused. And then Jasper does an interview afterwards, and Gunther hears him talking and says to Gunther, or Gunther says to Jasper, you know why I've been like this towards you, you know, this whole time. And Jasper goes, to teach me a lesson. And he goes, no, see, that's your problem. You're taking it too personal. This is business. And it left Jasper thinking and thinking and thinking. And it took us to the next day. And the episode cuts out when him and Booker T meet in the parking lot, walking into the building the next day. And Booker T says, I feel like you got robbed out of that point. Let's go take this shit. This isn't a game. This is your family. This is food on the table. This is your life. This is your career. Let's go take care of business. And then the episode cuts out. Do you have any thoughts on those last words?
Well, like I said, regardless of what Gunther says, like I said, I still do believe that there was something towards, you know, what he had to say to CM Punk during the course of that whole promo battle. There's something towards that. I don't fully believe for a second that it's just strictly business. So yeah, no, I regardless of what Gunther says, that's just me. The Booker T segment thing. Well, like I said, first of all, Booker T is hilarious. He's probably one of the most hilarious coaches on this particular program because he's so biased to his team. Like he picks the members of his team no matter what. They could have literally the worst match on this program, and he's still going to pick them. So
yep,
yeah, take that for however you will. Like I wouldn't listen to much of what Booker has to say because Booker's going to pick his team members no matter what. So.
If Booker T had a little ant on his team and all that thing did was crawl around in the ring and eat the crumbs off the mat, he would cheer for that ant.
Yep.
Pretty much. But that ends it with episode 7, and the points going into episode 8 is Team Undertaker 5, Team Booker T 4, Mickey James 2, and Bully Ray 1. And we get into episode 8, and this episode is called Making Your Move. And we have another special guest. Now, the Making the Move episode is based on these future greats learning a finisher move, creating a finisher move. And, well, there was one person in particular that has a very famous finishing move, and that is one Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Cutter. Now, the Diamond Cutter, Cam, as we know, is done in many different ways nowadays. You know, the Stone Cold Stunner is almost like a version of the Diamond Cutter. The RKO is a very close version of the Diamond Cutter. So Diamond Dallas Page comes in and he says that he wants to see finishing moves being created in this episode. and he is going to judge on who has the best finishing moves. So we end up, again, the points, Taker 5, Booker 4, Mickey 2, Bully 1. And we find out that Danny Sikelski's injury is still unknown. And then this was the episode where Troy Yearwood actually had the flu. So this is where Mickey James didn't have 2 of her members. I made the mistake on episode 7. It's actually episode 8 where she had 2 members out. So she's already down 2 competitors. And so we also see at the beginning like a little bit of a competition between Chris and Booker T. They start doing a push-up battle and see who could do the most push-ups. And Chris outbeats Booker T.
Yeah.
And Booker T admits defeat. Would you ever think Booker T would admit defeat?
No, okay. Not him.
So with Diamond Dallas Page and Shawn Michaels standing there, they all stand there and ask, who would your front runners be on your teams? And Team Bully said that Xena is his front runner. Would you agree that Xena is his front running competitor?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, she's a star. Like I said,
I agree. Booker T said that Jasper Troy is his front runner. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely made it a point that is definitely his favorite right now.
Mickey James said that Chris Island was her front runner. Would you agree with that one?
Yep. Okay. I can agree with that.
And then The Undertaker said that his is still open for approval. He doesn't have a front runner right now. Now, if you had to pick a front runner for Team Undertaker, who do you think it would be?
Shiloh Hill. I think he's worked close enough with Shiloh. It's kind of a no-brainer. I would say it would be Shiloh Hill.
See, now I have somebody different. That's Bailey.
Fair enough.
Bailey in those last 2 episodes before this one, she has really stepped up her game. She even had a finisher move before this episode even came around. She had almost, I don't want to say she had the complete package, but she had a little bit of a package put together. So that's why I think Bailey would be the front runner. Shiloh would be a close second. Close second. But we go through this episode and we see all the coaches kind of coaching their future greats on doing finishing move, helping them figure out finishing moves and everything like that. Booker T had a little bit of a problem because The Undertaker had Michelle McCool come in and help coach. Did you have a problem with Michelle McCool being there?
Yeah, it just seems off. Like that just seems like, that's almost like a cheat code. Like you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, Taker didn't like that at all either. So no, that's not supposed to be a thing.
I mean, it kind of makes sense for me because it's her giving, her coming in and helping the women with finishing moves because Molly Holly was there as well. Molly Holly was there helping out. So, I mean, it's almost like Michelle could have been there to back up Molly. Molly was talking to the others why Michelle was helping, almost Michelle helping with 2 teams, Molly helping with the other 2 teams. They kind of split it in half to work with the women and working on their finishing moves. That's what I'm guessing it was. I think it was just more of a timing thing to where Michelle was working with one of the Undertaker's future greats at the moment, and Booker just kind of looked over and he was like, what the hell? What's this about? That's what I think it was. But we also had a scene where another scene with Bubba Ray Dudley to where he yet again got into it with a future great. He was working on a finisher with Xena, and Xena was working on this very complex finishing move to where she had to pick up and time her finisher just right to come down on the mat. And Bully was trying to find the lightest female in the room at the time, and he looks over and sees Danny, and he goes to Danny, are you good to go? Can you get in the ring? And Danny says, no, not right now. And Bully says, you're useless, kind of in a joking way. But Chris kind of took that into offense and defended Danny and said, she's not useless. He defended her. Now, Mickey James, she was all for it. She was all for Chris defending Danny, but, Bully was just kind of joking with her. And Bully said that's the problem with this generation. They take things too literal. Do you have anything on these comments?
Yeah, very, very interesting. Like I said, the beef early on in this particular program started with Bully Ray and of course BJ Ray. Now
Yeah.
shifting towards kind of Tyra, and now Chris Island. Um, I would say this. Bully is, I would say, one of those people that if he was quote unquote joking, is one of those people that his expressions don't change. So you really can't tell if he's joking or if he's being serious. I know a few people that just have like dry humor, and it's like you can't tell if they're being serious or not. So it's very well with you. I can tell because your
Yeah.
expressions actually change. There's some people
Yeah.
that just say jokes and just have a straight face, and it's like I don't know if you're being serious or not. So yeah, he can look at it and say it was a joke, but at the same time, it's in the context of how he said it to
Yeah.
where I can see that's not really a joking manner.
The
So I'm
timing was
I'm
kind of off.
yeah. So
The
so so
timing
I'm
of it.
I'm with Chris on that one. But again, at the same time, like know when to pick your battles. That's for sure. You know what I mean. So, but no, I'm kind of with Chris on that one. Standing up for his teammate. That's a good thing to see. Just having teammates stick together, or whatever. The interesting thing about it though is Mickey siding with Chris. That's what I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it's getting a little spicy because I didn't see that coming at all either. So, very interesting part of this particular episode.
Well, Mickey had even made the comments in episode 7 that she's got to stop. Like, we got to know each other now for these first couple weeks. Now it's time to really get down to business. And that's that. Like, 2 of my team members are out now. Well, she said actually at the beginning of this episode that 2 of her team members are out right now. She's down 2 people. Like, things have got to get cooking here. Like, we got to start scoring points. We got to start healing up. We got to get healthy. We got to get everybody in the ring and ready to go. I'm 50-50 on it because, again, I knew Bully was joking. The timing, was it off? Yeah, because Danny's hurt. So was the timing off a little bit? Yeah. Now, if Danny wasn't hurt and it was in a situation of like, oh, I'm about, if Danny was healthy and she was able to get in the ring, I'm about to get in the ring and work on my finisher, so I kind of can't at the moment. Then, it'd be different. If, oh, you're useless. Okay. That's different. That's, you could take that fully as a joke. But with her being injured, I could see it being a little like, okay, like, what the hell, dude? Like, why would you say this? So it's a 50-50 deal. I can see both sides of it. I can. But we get matches made. Cutler James took on Anthony Luke. And again, this is where I found out. This was the episode where I actually found out that Cutler James was from my hometown. Anthony Luke does end up picking up the win on Cutler James. Do you have any thoughts on this match?
Not really, other than the fact that I don't know, Anthony Luke for me, I think is trying too hard. I think he definitely, again, this is another guy who I think has the tools, not all the tools, but definitely has some tools. Definitely has some ability for sure. But he does too much. There's an extra step or two in there. With just selling and overall, and then like his finisher setup, it's just too much. He's doing too much, I think, to try to stand out when he can do a lot more with less. Cutler James, like I said, I like Cutler James when they had to replace BJ Ray, but again, with him having really no character, and I don't think he even knows what he's supposed to be or who he is. He's just kind of turned into like a cyborg, where it's just like he's like the Terminator. I really don't know who Cutler James even is. So overall, kind of like a stalemate between this particular match.
Leah did take on Xena. Xena picked up the win on this one. Do you have any thoughts on this match?
Other than the fact that, again, like I said, Xena's just amazing. Like I said, she just doesn't have bad matches, for sure. Again, Lee, just said once again, just needs to find herself, I would say. But overall, not a bad match.
Chris Island took on Elijah Holyfield. Chris Island wins this one. Do you have anything on this one?
Elijah Holyfield needs to be talked about more because that dude's a star. That dude's a star. His first match dude, his first match was insane. It was insane. Like he just has it. I think Bully Ray was the one that said that he has like this like Clubber Lang kind of feel to him, which I was like, that's crazy. That's a crazy comparison.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, Elijah Holyfield's definitely a star. I think he's got the total package for sure. And like I said, he's definitely somebody who needs to be talked about more. He definitely impressed me out of pretty much everybody on Team Taker for sure. He came from just nothing because he wasn't really getting the the camera time or whatever on this particular show. Now he's a star for sure. So I'm very impressed with Elijah Holyfield.
Elijah Holyfield can work off of two things. Number one, his athleticism and how he works, and number two, his name. The sky's the limit for this kid.
Yes,
definitely. And then we had Bailey, who defeated Serena. Serena, she asked Molly Holly earlier in the episode if she can use the Molly go round, and Molly Holly said, "You know what? You have my blessings. You can use it. It's yours. Take it." And Serena's another one where not a lot of camera time, but when she's on, she has that impressive factor. How do you feel about Serena?
Yes, she's definitely impressive for sure. Very clean Molly go round from her actually in this match too. Maybe even better than Molly Holly herself. So very clean Molly go round from her. Again, she's another one that again is just with time, with more work with her, I think she could be a big star for sure. And again, like I said, we just talked about Bailey Humphrey. Bailey Humphrey, I think, is a star as well. In even her innovative finishing move, I think was insane. Like I did not see that coming at all from her. So yeah, like I said, once again, probably the best match on this particular episode for sure.
But that ends it. Booker T's team ends up getting the point. Mickie James also ends up picking up a point to end the episode. Team Booker and Team Undertaker tied up yet again at 5 points. Mickie James is up to 4, and Team Bully has 1. So the board is full with numbers now. No more number 0, no more goose eggs. But Team Bully definitely has to start picking it up in these next couple episodes. But that's it for episode 8, Cam. And that's pretty much it from us for now. With that being said, Cam, your social medias are on the bottom. If you want to let anybody know anything about your social medias, if you have anything coming up, by all means.
Well, like I said, thank you guys for checking us out once again for episode 7 and 8. We'll be back next week sometime to be back for, of course, 9 and 10. So stay tuned for that. Of course, we'll be back live tomorrow on the table, well, not table spot, on the boom, live on River City Radio. Talking about what day is this? This is Thursday. What am I talking about? We'll be back next week. I'm sorry. This week has just been.
We'll be here Monday for the table spot. We'll be here Wednesday for the boom.
I'm sorry. We'll be back. We'll be back Monday for the table spot. We'll be back Wednesday for, of course, the boom. And then we'll be back sometime next week for episodes 9 and 10. So I just appreciate you guys coming out and checking out, of course, this particular episode.
All right, my socials are on the bottom. Make sure you're heading over to my socials on Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, and Xbox Metal Like 714. And like Cam said, the table spot every Monday night with the Raw watch along starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the boom right after AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night over on River City Radio's Twitch and Off the Top Media's YouTube channel. Want to thank everybody for checking out this episode of the Table Spot Legends of Future Greats reaction. We will be back next time for our reactions to episode 9 and 10. Until then, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. See y'all later.